Today we'll be talking about refining research problem statements. At the heart of research work is the problem itself. The research problem statement is critical to establish the argument for research, why it's important, as well as how it will contribute to both theory and practice. As the heart of the research work, it's important that the research problem statement be in good working order for the rest of the research to function well. In this brief presentation, we'll hone in on the essential elements of the research problem statement, share some examples, and provide practice so you can create a research statement of your own. So, what's your problem? Really though, as you think about what you might be interested in researching, you'll have to find a problem to address. These ideas or problems can come from your own interests as well as the future research sections of reports and articles. As you create or critique problem statements, you'll look for three components. First, a clear statement of the problem itself. According to Creswell, one cannot place value on research without a clear understanding of first why that research has been conducted. So in this statement, you, or the author, need to describe the situation to establish the problem's significance. Some questions to consider as you think about justifying the problem are, is it important? To whom? Are other researchers interested in this? What's the population interested in this? Is it timely? Is it topical? Who will benefit by understanding the problem? According to some, a good research problem should at a minimum address a gap, be significant enough to contribute to the existing body of research, be one that will lead to more research, render itself to be investigated via data collection, and be interesting to you, the researcher, and suit your skills, time, and resources. Second, a research problem statement needs to include state of the knowledge as well as the gap in knowledge. Clearly, this information will result from a critical and careful read of the literature in the area of interest, as well as any practical observations from the field. Oftentimes, the end of articles and reports provide information on their own limitation and then ideas for next steps in research. Obviously, these are good places to start to frame research problems. So during this phase, you need to consider questions like, are there gaps in or limits to what's known? Does current knowledge raise any new questions? And have past assumptions been incomplete or inaccurate? This provides a context for your work, as well as details why there isn't enough or sufficient research in this topic area. For example, the front matter of the report on a Yosemite National Park trail monitoring study specifically says it's being conducted to bridge the gap between our understanding of visitor use patterns and the resulting ecological impacts. This study seeks to establish correlation and spatial relationships based on existing conditions. You can't be too much more clear than that. Third and finally, a research problem statement includes the method or approach to resolve the problem and bridge that gap in knowledge. As you're considering this, think about the desired future conditions and how you propose these conditions might be reached, like through research, in some instances, action like policies, practices, or education. Again, from the Yosemite report, a quick summary of the methods includes an integrated analysis of two data sets, meadow ground cover and informal trails, to inform, but not determine, the formulation of standards for informal trails as part of the park users' capacity management program. The authors had established the problem, its importance, and gaps to understanding it. They then proposed a method to address it. Now it's your turn to assess another example. Although a bit removed from visitor analysis, our example provides a great short example of these ideas. So to do this, you would need to read the sentences on the next slide. We ask you to reorder them and list the letters in the appropriate order and advance to see the original statement. Here you see the solution to the problem statement. How does your response compare to the original statement? I've separated the sentences so you can see how they address the problem itself in part 1, identify the gaps in part 2, and then present how to address the gap in part 3. After this presentation and a bit of practice, you should be able to more aptly address the what's your problem, the research problem, and have a sense of the key elements to address a gap and resolve it. We look forward to reading your ideas in the weeks to come.